I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in the state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this. We have a new thing in LA called follow home robberies, where gang members stake out nice restaurants and then follow home the people who leave in expensive cars and force their way into their houses. That's why Paris Hilton now drives a 2009 PT Cruiser and eats a cigar.
Bill Maher is back again, and this time he is strongly criticizing Gavin Newsom. Maher says Newsom's leadership is a big reason behind many of California's problems. And in this round of criticism, Karen Bass also cannot avoid the backlash. Maher is not just giving light criticism. He is tearing apart the policies and public image that, in his view, have turned the Golden State into a warning example for others. His comments are sharp, funny, and very direct. So get ready, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump right into the story.
This year, the LA City Council voted that every homeless tent had to be removed from dozens of locations, yet every freeway overpass still looks like history's saddest Coachella. The homeless are both preyed upon and, frankly, are concerned that they will do God knows what. You go out for a run in your neighborhood and you have to wonder whether that guy eyeing you on the corner is going to be this guy or this guy.
Maher begins with a strong point about the rising homelessness problem in Los Angeles and other large cities across California. He points out the strange situation where city councils, including the one in Los Angeles, vote to remove homeless camps, but the tents keep appearing again and again on streets and sidewalks. Block after block, the number keeps growing. Maher asks a simple question. If these policies are working, why are the numbers still going up? That is when he directs criticism toward Newsom and Bass. Some critics say Newsom's strategy focuses on spending money, catchy slogans, and public events, but produces very little real change. Billions of dollars are poured into different programs, yet there is little clear accountability, while many Californians feel like their neighborhoods are slowly falling apart. Maher echoes the frustration many residents feel as they struggle between wanting to show compassion and dealing with growing chaos. His message is clear. Good intentions alone are not enough if the streets continue to get worse, and leaders keep avoiding responsibility instead of fixing the problem.
A day doesn't go by where you can't find video of the latest smash and grab robbery, where thieves in broad daylight just smash the front windows of ritzy stores and take all the jewelry they can carry. They went to Jared.
Next, Maher moves to another major issue: rising crime and theft in California's biggest cities. According to him, this situation did not appear suddenly. He believes certain policy changes may have helped create the current problems. In Maher's view, the state has become too soft on crime, putting more focus on the comfort of offenders than on public safety. He describes situations where shoplifters walk out of stores carrying large amounts of stolen goods because they believe the consequences will be very small. Repeat offenders, he says, often move in and out of the system without serious punishment. Maher challenges the idea that lighter penalties will reduce crime. Instead, he argues that these policies may have encouraged more theft. As businesses close and neighborhoods begin to feel unsafe, many law-abiding residents feel they're the ones paying the price. Maher sums it up bluntly by saying that compassion without responsibility can create an environment where disorder grows.
And when did they legalize shoplifting? There used to be shame in shoplifting, or at least some skill. Now criminals just brazenly walk out of Walgreens, again in broad daylight, with a trash bag full of aisle 3, while the security guard just watches. They have to keep even the most mundane products all caged up. CVS isn't a store, it's a zoo for teeth whitening strips.
Maher then traces part of the problem back to California's decision to reduce the punishment for theft under $1,000 from a felony to a misdemeanor. The goal of that change was to reduce overcrowding in prisons and allow law enforcement to focus on more serious crimes. But according to Maher, the results have been very different. He argues that many offenders quickly realized the penalties were minor and began targeting large retail stores without much fear. Videos of these thefts spreading online made many people feel the law had become weak. Because of this, stores began taking new steps to protect their products. Everyday items like toothpaste, laundry detergent, and even basic groceries are now locked behind glass cases. Customers often have to press a button and wait for an employee just to buy simple necessities. Maher's conclusion is blunt. He says this situation does not feel like real reform, but instead feels like a system failing the people who follow the law, while repeat offenders continue to move around with little restriction.
San Francisco in the last few years has seen 11 Walgreens and 6 CVS stores just give up and close because that town seems simply beyond law, which is heartbreaking because I, like so many people, love that city, and I don't think it's corny to admit, yes, I left my heart in San Francisco. Also my wallet and iPhone.
Maher did not stop with homelessness or retail theft. He also talked about the growing safety worries many Californians have when it comes to their cars and personal belongings. He describes a situation that many people recognize. Someone leaves their car for just a few minutes and comes back to find their valuables gone. According to Maher, that was not always normal. But in recent years, car thefts and vehicle break-ins have increased sharply. Even simple errands can now feel risky. In Los Angeles alone, tens of thousands of vehicle thefts and break-ins have been reported, giving the city a reputation as a major burglary hotspot. Meanwhile, San Francisco has long been known for high levels of property crime and car theft, even though some recent numbers have slightly improved. Maher shares these examples to show how trapped many residents feel between rising crime and leaders who, in their view, are not providing clear solutions.
Bay Area citizens have been complaining in recent years about all the human feces in the streets, but now the streets are full of something else. They call it San Francisco snow. Glass, piles and piles of shattered glass everywhere from car windows being smashed. So routine to have this happen to any parked car that people purposely leave the windows down and the glove compartment open so thieves can see there's nothing of value. Or they leave a note on the car politely assuring the thief that there's nothing worth stealing and please don't break the windows. Dear Mr. Criminal, I hope this note finds you well.
Maher says the situation has become especially strange in areas like the San Francisco Bay Area. Some car owners have started leaving handwritten notes inside their vehicles saying there is nothing valuable in the car. They hope this might stop thieves from breaking the windows. Maher says this is not clever behavior. Instead, it shows how frustrated people have become while trying to deal with a system they believe is failing them. Law-abiding residents are adjusting their lives to crime rather than expecting the government to stop it. In some neighborhoods, people even leave their car windows slightly open. They are not being careless. They are simply tired of paying for broken glass again and again. Maher argues that this kind of behavior happens when leaders lose touch with real-world consequences and when laws ignore how people actually behave. When citizens start feeling unprotected, they lose trust in institutions and begin finding their own ways just to cope. That is when the system starts to feel completely overwhelmed.
What is so disturbing here? It's not just that there's more crime and mayhem. It's the audacity of it all. Like there's no lines anymore that can't be crossed.
Maher warns that California could be reaching a dangerous turning point. According to him, some people may begin believing there is no real line they cannot cross because consequences feel weak or almost non-existent. When rules are not strongly enforced, behavior can quickly change. Things that once shocked people can start to look normal. Some crimes now happen openly during the day, and they are often recorded on cameras without the offenders showing fear. For many ordinary Californians, this creates constant frustration and a feeling of helplessness. They pay taxes, follow the rules, and try to do the right thing. Yet they feel they are the ones dealing with inconvenience and risk. At the same time, those breaking the law may feel unstoppable. Maher says this is not mainly about citizens failing morally. Instead, he argues it is about leadership failing at a basic level. When leaders give the impression that enforcement is optional, respect for the law begins to fade. And once that decline begins, restoring order becomes much harder than preventing the problem in the first place.
It's also, yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. But when it's not on fire, it's really quite lovely. And it's my home. And stupid as its origin may be, it's not going anywhere. Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in the state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this.
Maher also talks about what he believes is a huge gap between what Californians pay in taxes and what they receive in return. California has some of the highest taxes in the United States, yet Maher argues the results do not match the cost. With so much money coming into the system, basic services should run smoothly. But in many cases they do not. He points to wildfires as one clear example. Every year, fires spread through crowded communities and beautiful areas, while residents watch similar problems happen again. Emergency responses can be slow, preparation often seems weak, and officials sometimes appear to react only after the damage has already happened. For Maher, this is not only about natural disasters. He says it also shows poor management. His question is simple. How can a state collecting so many tax dollars still appear unprepared when these crises occur again and again?
When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that before the fire. At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2011.
What really frustrates Maher, along with many residents of California, is the constant cycle of wildfires. Year after year, fires destroy homes, businesses, and entire neighborhoods. Maher says that after so many disasters, people would expect leaders like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass to learn from past mistakes and take stronger steps to prevent the next tragedy. Instead, he argues the same pattern repeats every year. Warnings are ignored, preparation feels incomplete, and explanations come only after the damage is done. Maher says his anger is not directed at nature itself, but at leadership that seems slow to adapt. Discussions about controlled burns, forest management, and infrastructure improvements happen every fire season, yet meaningful changes often appear too late. At this point, he says many people would not be surprised if another large fire happened and officials responded with the same familiar excuses. For residents, the cycle feels exhausting, costly, and painfully predictable. Maher's criticism of California is constant and intense because the problems appear in many places, from the streets of Los Angeles to neighborhoods across the Bay Area. Homelessness continues to grow while city councils try to clear camps without fixing deeper causes. Crime and theft are increasing, and laws that were meant to help sometimes lack strong enforcement. Stores lock everyday items behind glass, and citizens invent their own ways to protect their property. Car break-ins have become so common that people leave notes on their vehicles or crack their windows to avoid shattered glass. And every year, the wildfire crisis returns, putting lives and property in danger. Maher's message is simple. Californians pay some of the highest taxes in the country, yet many feel the system still fails to protect or serve them. The frustration and anger are easy to see, and Maher delivers his criticism in a sharp, direct way that is hard to ignore. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, press the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.